Back during the 2016 presidential election, specifically during the Democratic primaries, Hillary's Director of Communications, Jennifer Palmieri, wrote an email to John Podesta, Hillary's 2016 campaign chair, Uma Abedin, vice chair to Hillary's 2016 run, and what appears to be Hillary Clinton herself. And in this email, Palmieri updates the aforementioned people on a pending New York Times story. Specifically, Palmieri said, Madame Secretary et al., I wanted to give you an update on New York Times pending story on cost of policy proposals. Brian and I, with help from Jake and Nira, fought hard on this. I had pretty frank conversations with them about what an unfair story would do as a further setback in the relationship. Maggie thinks it's responsible and that we are not going to have a problem with it. It will have all the caveats that HRC has not actually proposed these policies and has said that we will pay for any new policies. She is going to read me the story later today off the record to further assure me. I will let you all know how that goes. Again, this email was written during the Democratic primaries. Now, there are some first names mentioned in this email that I think we can probably make an educated guess on who they are. For instance, I would suspect that Brian is in reference to Brian Fallon, who was Hillary's national press secretary during her 2016 run. Moreover, I would suspect that Nira refers to Nira Tandon, who was Hillary's policy director back during her run for presidency in 2008 and had quite the presence in these DNC leaks. She seemed to be still very much involved in Hillary's campaign. Furthermore, I suspect that Maggie refers to Maggie Haberman of the New York Times. Maggie was one of the many reporters that reportedly RSVP'd to attend John Podesta's quote-unquote off-the-record dinner with the quote-unquote key national reporters covering Hillary Clinton. Again, back during the Democratic primaries. Now, this email was alarming because it had some troubling elements to it. I mean, right off the bat, it starts off problematic. Palmieri said she wanted to give an update to a pending New York Times article. A pending New York Times article, meaning it had not come out yet. Why in the world would Hillary's campaign be privy to a pending New York Times article? Moreover, Palmieri said they fought hard on the article. Meaning what? Fought hard on what? The content of the article? I mean, what else could they have fought on? Moreover, Palmieri said they warned the New York Times about what an unfair story would do to further damage their relationship. So Hillary's campaign threatened the New York Times in order to try and influence the content of their article. They apparently wanted to make sure that the piece was not, quote-unquote, unfair. But the question then becomes what constitutes as fair to them. Is a piece fair if it is accurate in its content? Or is a piece only fair if it is written in a way that paints Hillary's campaign in a favorable light? And is it only unfair if the piece paints Hillary's campaign in a negative light? Regardless, this was not a good look for Hillary's campaign. They shouldn't have threatened the New York Times like this. But Maggie apparently told them that she didn't think they would have a problem with the story, and that it was, quote-unquote, responsible. And then Palmieri says that Maggie was going to read Palmieri the story off the record to assure her, so it appears that the New York Times played along with Hillary's campaign in this regard. You know, I've mentioned this before and I'll say it again. A lot of people felt like the media was in the tank for Hillary Clinton and wanted her to win. The New York Times is one of the most influential news organizations in the world, and look at how Hillary's campaign was working with them. This isn't right, man. This isn't right. Hey guys, if you want to help out this show, you can follow our various social media links. Also, we have a Facebook group that you can join as well. And if you want to follow me on social media, you could do that as well. Alright guys.